Hey there, Ali here, and today I'm going to show you 3 movements and stretches that you can incorporate in your day and can benefit from, especially if you sit a lot. If you sit all day, you're sitting on a chair, your hip flexor. Hey there, Ali here, and today I'm going to show you 3 movements that you can incorporate in your day that you can benefit from, especially if you are sitting all day. If you sit on a chair most of the time, your hip flexors are always in a closed position, your hamstrings are tight, your hips are tight, your arms are in this forward position, and things get tight over time. So I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can help yourself with that. Number 1 is we're going to take a couch stretch, or it's otherwise called King Arthur. So you'll see why. So the setup is going to look like I'm going to have something soft for our knee here. So this is just a blanket I've put against a wall. Obviously this is not a wall, it's a window, but it's such a nice day, so I'm using it as a wall. But what we're going to do, we're going to take one knee, we're going to start with the right knee, all the way against that wall as close as possible, and try to get the foot up against the wall in this pointed position. And we're going to set ourselves up so we can come into this low lunge, so 90 degrees with the legs, with the front leg, and set up. Right away, if you feel that it's way too tight here, way too intense here, you can take your knee more forward as opposed to being too close to the wall. But I would prefer for you to take it as close as possible, right up against the wall, and come up. Right away, you'll notice that all of this quads will get stretched, which is perfect. But what we also want to target is a hip flexor here. So a lot of us will have a natural tendency to let the butt stick out and hinge forward, kind of make it more easy on us. But we specifically want to reach our tailbone or butt down to the floor. So almost tilting it forward, the pelvis, the front of the hip goes forward. We also want to press the knee down to the floor to sit as tall as possible. And once you have that, our arms can come on to the front leg with straight arms so we can make ourselves tall. Here we're just going to breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. I'm going to hold it for about 30 seconds to a minute. You can kind of assess where you really need to come out. And during this whole time, really want you to focus on pressing the knee down into the floor, lifting up with the body, straight arms, and tucking the tailbone down. Now a variation of this that could target your hip flexor even a bit more would be to keep pressing the knee against the wall. As you bring your hands down, the left hand also on the inside of the leg, and work on kind of pulsing this right hip flexor down towards where your hands are. So think about this hip flexor moving forward and down towards where the hands are on the floor, kind of pulsing back and forth a few times. And just notice how deep you go. You don't have to go as deep as I'm going. I've been doing this for a while, so naturally you'll go deep, but just go where your body allows you to. If you want to prop yourself up, maybe bringing a block or something to put your hand against. If you can't go all the way down to the floor, then that's what you do. Whenever you feel like you've had enough of all this, you're just going to switch sides. So same thing, the other knee up against the wall. The first part of it, we're just going to sit up, try to get our back against the wall too, knee to the floor, sit tall, arms on the front leg. And again, actively try to think about tilting the pelvis forward and reaching your tailbone down to the floor. So it's the opposite of sticking your butt out. You want to send the front of your hips forward. And just breathe. Deep breathing really allows you to get more comfortable and relaxed, and your body trusts you that you can go a little bit deeper. It's safe. Whenever you want to move on to the second part, it's gonna hinge more forward, bringing one hand or both hands down, either on the floor or again, actually I'll demonstrate it with a block here. If the floor is too far away, you can place something underneath and just pulse forward a bit. Okay, you can get yourself out, whatever feels good. If you want to stay longer, obviously stay longer. I would recommend doing this at least once a day. This takes a couple minutes and it's really good for your hip flexors, especially as you come back from work. This is a perfect thing to do. Next one is a simple deep squat. And why deep squat? Because again, we sit in a sitting position where we're not folding your body completely. If you notice all the Eastern cultures, and if you've been to, let's say, a place like China or any of the Eastern countries, you see a lot of people squatting down on the floor. It's like a body's natural ability to sit. And we lose that by sitting on a chair, there's no problem sitting on a chair in general, but you just over time lose your body's natural ability to fold and to be mobile, So that's why we want to introduce the squat. So for a squat, we're just gonna come with feet apart. We want to be in a deep squat. Now, a couple of things might happen. A lot of us might not have the full range to come all the way down onto the floor, and that's okay. You might have to lift the heel up, and that's totally okay. And if you find yourself quite stiff and you can't even take the butt down and you have to have it very lifted, and that's totally okay. Maybe prop yourself up with a couple of blocks or a surface, maybe even 3, and maybe this is where you sit, just taking yourself down to full. Maybe this is a really good stretch for you. So play with that. And otherwise, if you can take yourself a little bit deeper, but your heels lift, I want you to again place, maybe a block is too much, maybe find, for example, you can place a couple of books underneath your heels. This will allow you to just get a bit more stable, because we're going to hold this for about a minute. And if you're not even comfortable, then that's okay. You want to put something to support yourself. So we're just going to sit here, quite literally, for about a minute. And a minute is the minimum. If you can take this for longer, if you can do this 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's my challenge to you. Just increase the length and the amount of time that you can sit in this position. It's going to really benefit you. It's going to work on the ankle mobility. It's going to get you deeper into this hip flexion, which is a primal natural position that you kind of want your body to be able to be in. And over time, instead of slouching forward, you want to be able to sit tall. So lifting the heart up, lifting the head up, and sit tall here. So I'll show you from the side. In the beginning, you might have to slouch forward a bit, but over time, you want to be able to sit up. Sometimes, for some people, it even helps to hold something heavy in front of them. This will give you a little bit of better posture to balance things out a little bit. That's more than a minute already for me. So whenever you're done, you can also let go. Okay, my shirt is off, and I'm going to show you a third thing that you can do to open yourself up if you're stiff. So we're going to talk about hanging. Hanging is such a primal thing that monkeys do, people in the past would do all the time. It's just one of, also similar to squat position, it's one of the most primal things you can do with your body. It's the body's natural ability to hang from things, and we've lost that over time because we're always either driving or texting and eating. Our arms are always in this bottom position, but we're rarely opening the arm up. We're rarely extending ourselves, and that's not good. We want to be able to open up. We want to be able to open these shoulders. So this simple act of hanging will do all of that for you. It will open up the shoulders over time. It will decompress your spine, which is extremely helpful, especially for if you have lower back problems or back problems in general. It's generally a good prescription for people to do. The only reason I would say don't do that if it actually hurts. Like if you go up your hand and it hurts your shoulders, then you'll want to investigate further and something's not right. Now, if you do have a pull-up bar at home, I highly recommend. Well, if you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. If you do have one, amazing. And maybe there's one at the gym that you can use. And if you don't go to the gym, if you don't have a bar at home, maybe use a tree branch out there. There's so many surfaces to hang from. It doesn't even have to be circular. It could be like an edge of a wall that you can hang from. And I'll show you what you can do if you don't have a bar. Just bear with me after I show you the exercise. But basically what we want to do is to come to our bar and have the hands are relatively shoulder width apart. You can go a little bit wider if you wish, but don't go too narrow or too wide. And honestly, in the beginning, you don't have to lift your feet off the floor. I don't think you can see my toes right now, but my toes are on the floor now. I'm just gonna slowly shift my weight out of my feet and into my arms and let my spine decompress. Maybe, and this is perfect. You could just stay here if you want. And maybe if you want, you can take one foot off, maybe the other one. You can rest it on a surface if you want, or you can just bring the knees up and just going to hang. Simply hang. And of course, there's going to be grip strength that you're going to be using because you're grabbing the bar. Try not to dead grip it, but also try to relax the shoulders. The only active part of your body is really just the hands and the forearms. Especially the shoulders, you want to let go as much as we can. So as you're in a hang position, just breathe. And with every exhale, just open up a little bit more. You might even feel crack in your lower back, and it's perfect. And my recommendation is to hang as long as you can. If that's 15 seconds, then do that. If that's 30 seconds, if that's a minute, just hang as long as you can and just come up. And trust me, it's such a simple thing, but it makes the biggest difference. If you don't have a wall, you can give this a try. Now, it's not going to be as good as hanging, but it's going to do a percentage of the job, which is not bad. So you're going to have a piece of chair or furniture in front of you. You could also use the wall by putting the hands against the wall, but I like to put my hands flat, so I'm going to go against this chair. Hands flat on surface, straight arms, and in a 90-degree position, so knees are directly under my hips. I'm going to work on opening my chest towards the floor. The stretch sensation we're looking for is in the shoulder area and the armpit area. And what I want you to think about is not to stick the ribs out completely, send the butt up. So look at me, we're not going to do this. Even though that's not too bad, it's going to pull the ribs in, tuck the tailbone underneath a little bit, and go from here. So you want to keep the core relatively tight. You can even kind of play with both positions. You can try to send the chest down, butt up, and then round your back a little bit, and go through that motion almost like a cat-cow in yoga. But mainly, again, you want to focus on the armpit area, the shoulder area. And just breathe here for about a minute. With every exhale, long exhale, you can go a little bit deeper. Okay, and just like that, we will come out. And there you have it. The 3 movements you could do. This first one was a couch stretch or the King Arthur, knee against the wall. Second one is just a simple deep squat. And the third one is hanging or opening shoulders using a couch. There's so many more things we could do, obviously, with our time, with our body. But if you want like a quick 3-step thing to keep your body happy, if you are sitting all day and you're at the office all day, this is it. Opening the shoulders and the arms in elevated position, and also opening up the hip flexor and getting deep into like a deep squat position so that you don't feel limited in the hips. That's it, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, or just tell me how I can do better. I know these videos, I'm just starting, and it's not, the quality isn't as good as I want it to be in terms of production and the camera quality and the things I say. But I'm trying. I am putting myself out there, and if you have any comments, feedback on how I can do better, please let me know. I would love to know. Cheers.